feature presentation.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 123 of the Untitled Movie Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Matt Rohrbeck, alongside he's allergic to tomatoes, but he is tomato meter approved, Eric Marchin.
Matt, you're getting ready to fly out to Croatia, getting married.
Wild.
Why are you recording right now?
That's a great question. I'm leaving tomorrow. As you guys are listening to this, I'm already there. Hopefully, knock on wood. Hopefully everything at the airport was fine. No delays, no cancellations, all that stuff. Because Pearson Airport's supposedly a nightmare right now, which great. Can't wait for that.
You guys can't catch a break, really.
It's you know what? I feel like what I'm happy about is that the security might be a nightmare. We'll see. But every time they say security is a nightmare, I go there and security is really fast. Like when our flight to LA that we went to in November, security was a little bit of a nightmare and they made us wait in like a holding pen until they allowed us to go to security. And then it was customs that took forever, remember? Yeah. And then like I got caught behind someone who like 3 people in a row got taken away to the back room. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, I picked the wrong person. They let me through when I eventually got there. But we made it to
a white man, Matt. That's why.
Yeah, that is also true. I am very privileged. And yeah, we made it to our gate, like literally as the plane was.
Yeah, we had no time to get coffee and like
3.5 hours early, and we still got there like 10 minutes before our flight left.
I know, which was so weird because they kind of just kept us in this like sort of waiting room and told us, okay, well, we'll get you going through customs closer to your flight. And it kind of felt like they were overlapping with like a bunch of other flights, and sort of when you went through customs and saw like how many people were in line, it was just like we needed to get Nexus cards. Like we needed to become part of the
I know I'm thinking about that for if we go on more trips and stuff for the stuff that we do, but that doesn't help for European trips. But anyways, my point being flying to Europe, so you don't go through customs until you land, so at least you skip that part.
Right.
Which I like the convenience of going through customs here for shorter trips to like the US and stuff like that. But
because it's done and you're on
you're on your way, right? But flying to Europe, we do it when we get there. But we're still gonna go like pretty damn early. I'm always an early airport guy. Like I'm already in dad mode where it's like get to the airport 4 hours early. Let's go. Just because I'd rather get there early than be rushing at the end. So I'm pretty well like packed and everything. Like I'm like nervous about the whole thing. Obviously getting married, but then traveling for the first time, and we did that 24-hour trip, which I guess
it's a longer
prepped
flight
me for this. Yeah, this is 9 hours instead of 6, I guess.
Yeah.
But
it's over water.
That's also true, but I've done this trip so many times with Nevis, but she hasn't traveled anywhere in 3 years. So like, and I think it's just like, it's a lot more because we're going for 3 weeks. So the luggage is bigger. I have a tuxedo I need to bring. Nevis has a wedding dress she has to bring. So it's just like a lot of extra kind of shit that makes it even like traveling is exciting but stressful because you just want to make sure you have everything
and that you still have everything when you're over there, right?
And all of that shit. So looking forward to it. Leave tomorrow. As you guys are listening to this, I'm there probably. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Matt Rohrbeck. I'll be posting shit constantly, probably photos, being obnoxious, stories, different things like that. So wedding day not for a couple weeks, but I'm excited, man. It should be good. So I'm gonna try to see some. I always love when I'm on vacation too, that I try to see movie theaters in like whatever town I'm in. Like I like to see either older ones or local ones, or there's a brand new theater in Pula, which kind of just looks like a multiplex, to be honest, but it's brand new, so we'll probably end up going there and seeing maybe Jurassic World, which we'll get to in a sec.
Which you saw half of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. So there's symmetry there,
There is, yeah. Just see 2 horrible fucking Jurassic World movies in Croatia. We'll talk to that in a sec. But other than that, man, yeah, just I'm almost ready to go. So
So there's
pretty
gonna
pumped.
be, so your trip is gonna have a whole lot more, but is it gonna have a whole lot Morbius? And what I mean by that, are you gonna watch Morbius on the plane? Because I'm sure it's on
No,
a movie to watch
it's
on the plane.
I'm sure it is. I loaded my that's a good question actually, Eric. Like what am I gonna do on the plane? I have too many electronic devices. Am I bringing my Nintendo Switch? Am I bringing my iPad? Am I bringing my laptop? Am I bringing everything basically? I loaded my laptop, which I'm on right now. So I guess I could just open the Apple TV app and see what I loaded on here. I loaded all the Jurassic Park movies because I'm like, if I'm on a plane for 9 hours, maybe I catch up with them before I see the new one. So I loaded those on there. I also loaded the first season of, or the only season of Devs. I loaded
Nice.
some documentaries. So I loaded Three Identical Strangers, Won't You Be My Neighbor, Life Itself, as well as Bloody Nose Empty Pockets.
Yeah.
I loaded Brightburn because I still hadn't seen Brightburn, and The Death of Dick Long. So I loaded a couple movies I hadn't seen yet. I loaded Clue, the movie. I don't know why, but I loaded Clue. I loaded Days of Thunder because I just, after Top Gun, I'm like, I kind of am in the mood
Another
for Days
Tony
of Thunder.
Scott, Tom Cruise
Yeah.
feature.
Last Night, I loaded on there, as well as Speed Racer, and I think that's it. So I loaded those, and then I loaded some stuff on my iPad as well, because you can't load anything from Crave or Netflix on a laptop. You can only load it to like an iPhone or an iPad. So I loaded RRR on Netflix,
Nice.
which I've wanted to watch.
Now we should also say with that, because I do want to watch that on Netflix as well, but it is the Hindi
playing
version.
the Royal. Yeah.
Now the Royal is playing
Yeah.
the Tollywood version.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's two different. What's the difference?
So
Sorry.
the language.
Really?
Yeah.
So the one that is playing the Royal is the original language of it?
Yes. Yeah, the proper
Okay.
version. Yeah, Peter Kaplowski and Justin Decloux have been very strong advocates of that since it came out. Because
does it have the option for the original language on Netflix?
No, it's only
Weird.
the Hindi version. That's been one of the things that a lot of people have been complaining about.
I noticed that right away because I put it on, and then I was like, why don't the voices match?
Yeah.
And that's just my ignorance. I did not realize. Like I just originally I watched the first couple minutes just to test it or whatever.
I didn't
realize
either until listening.
Yeah.
So one of the podcasts I listened to is the Important Cinema Club podcast with Justin Decloux and Will Sloan, and they saw this movie back in, I think it was like March, because it was only playing, like it was playing theatrically throughout the US because it was kind of this box office crossover movie, this Tollywood film that kind of just was becoming a huge sort of sensation. But then on top of that, here there's something where there's the studio that released it didn't have a deal with like Cineplex or Landmark or any sort of major chain, so the only theater that it was playing at was like one out in Mississauga.
So it did get a small theatrical,
a very small release, because a lot of the Bollywood and Tollywood movies do get released usually end up playing in Toronto at Yonge and Dundas. But this didn't, because I kept looking for it every week. I was
same, man.
I was like, this kind of like everything that everybody's talking about, that like they're saying it's like Everything Everywhere All at Once, or like that kind of like spectacle of like it puts other action movies to shame. And then I was gonna watch it last week on Netflix when it was available,
and I realized it.
Yeah, and I still kind of do, and I want to compare and contrast, but it's also I'm not as well versed in Bollywood and Tollywood cinema, so it does kind of feel overwhelming. But everything I've seen about it and heard, I'm very excited to watch it.
Same, but now I'm like, do I want to? I would love to go, but I'm gone. If I wasn't on this trip, I probably would have bought a ticket.
It's gonna sell out too. I feel like it's,
and it'll be a blast. Like it'll be a blast. Like with Peter doing it, and I didn't know that, so now I'm like, do I wait until I can see the like original kind of language? Because I think I might wait then. I don't know. That's weird why they don't give you that option. Like
it's Netflix, man.
Very strange. That is super strange. So maybe I'll watch that. I loaded the first season of Hacks. from
Gene
HBO.
Smart.
Yep. And I would love to get. Hopefully, I can have access to Barry while I'm there too. That's like the one thing on the finale. I'm like, fuck, I gotta find that on Sunday. They have HBO Max in Croatia, but like, I don't know if I can sign up for like a free trial or something while I'm there, or something like that. But um, yeah, when it comes to content on the trip, it's just like they have HBO Max. Disney Plus is launching on June 14th in Croatia, so I don't have to miss out on Ms. Marvel or Obi-Wan while I'm there,
Yeah.
because if they didn't have it, I guess I could have used a VPN or something, but I don't love doing that. And it's usually like just slows the internet down way too much, or you got to pay for it and shit. But so yeah, man, I don't know, like when it comes to watching stuff, like I'll watch some stuff randomly. I'm bringing my Apple TV with me because, like, just to have something that I can plug into the TVs because we're jumping around to different places and things like that. Not that I'm gonna sit in our room and watch much TV, but it's just like at night and different things like that. Like,
Yeah, when
I
you're
wanted
lying
to
in
make
bed
sure.
and thinking about Bieber Brew, you know.
Yeah, I mean, what? Yeah, we had Biebs Brew. Let's move over to that. That's the most important. So
One last question I wanted to ask you about.
yeah.
Are you and Nevis sitting together and alone, or do you have somebody sitting like in between you or next to you? Like,
That's a good question. We check in actually tonight, so I should have a better idea. What we ended up doing was we paid for like premium economy kind of thing, like option plus
premium,
on
dude, premium.
just that way we got our bag, we got to pick our seat, we get like a little alcoholic beverage, we get like a little priority service kind of thing, because we wanted to make sure with Nevis's wedding dress and different things like that, that I'm glad we both got bags, because originally we were like, oh, we'll just share one. Like, that was a horrible idea because we've been packing the last couple days. I'm like, there's no way we could have shared one. Absolutely not. So right now we picked an aisle seat and a window seat, and hoping no one picks the middle seat in between us, or gets the middle seat in between us. It's
Right.
a risk because someone obviously could get the middle seat in between us. So
Well,
I'm
you know what they
hoping,
say
like,
about Risk? Always bet on black.
yeah, and then I
That's what they say,
just
right?
I don't know. Maybe at a casino, or and then I'm hoping maybe if we tell them like we're heading to get married and things like that, maybe they'll give us a little bit of a being like, okay, we'll make sure that no one's sitting there, maybe give
Wiggle
us like
room.
there's a little wiggle room. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. It's a 9-hour flight. We've done it many times before, but I'm looking forward to it, man. It'll just be excited to see a bunch of my family in Croatia and different things like that, and them have a lot of them haven't traveled to like they've gone to like resorts and England and stuff like that, but I think like it's a little like my sister and my parents, they've never gone to like a country where, English isn't the first language, so
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a learning curve, but everyone's pretty good, and most people do speak English in a lot of Europe, so unless you're in smaller towns and things like that, so
Well, that's even in
so
Canada, right? Like there
yeah.
are places in Quebec, like if you go to small sort of like villages or smaller communities, they don't English is not the first language. So
Yeah, exactly. So it's like in the major touristy places that everyone's going, I'm like, guys, don't worry. Like,
Dubrovnik and things like that.
you got to think like Europe kind of looks like they understand that that English is the dominant language, and it's very beneficial to them to learn English, unlike us morons in North America where we only learn English. We don't learn anything else.
Well, I mean
Some
English and French, but English is
Yeah,
always
sure.
in
But
Canada, and
how
then
much
in
French
the
do you know?
very little.
Yeah,
But then
exactly.
in the US, it's English and
Spanish, and yeah,
Spanish.
I get that. We all have there is a second language. I'm just saying, like in Europe, everyone
La
makes it, not
bibliothèque.
everyone.
There, I know
Like,
something.
yeah. In Europe, a lot of people, you go, oh, I'm going to learn English because it'll be super beneficial.
Yeah.
Where we're like, all I need is English, like over here, where I would love to, like, luckily Nevis knows Croatian, so it makes it a lot easier for us. But Eric, Biebs Brew, baby. So today we're going to talk about the Buzz Lightyear press conference we went to. We'll get to that soon. Eric's going to talk a little bit about Jurassic World Dominion, which I haven't seen, but he has. So
Oh
we'll talk
God.
about that. Since we're not doing a review of it, this will kind of be our review, even though you don't have to give it a score, but you can, and I already
1.
know what it is. Okay. Um, and more random stuff. So we're just gonna kind of shoot the shit because this will be the last episode we record before I take off. Eric, Biebs Brew launched this week. And I want to say, like, it's a awkward time because we can poke fun at this and stuff. Well, like, oh, we had Biebs Brew. It's kind of a silly promotion with Tim Hortons. I actually weirdly when we were driving out, I saw that Justin Bieber had to cancel a bunch of his concerts recently, and because
of
he's
facial
like,
paralysis.
yeah, because he has like a viral infection that's like related to chicken pox, maybe kind of, and it lies dormant in you and can like 5 in 100,000 people. It kind of reappears and does this. I don't know the exact name for it. I was reading it earlier, but like,
Which is awful. Yeah,
it's awful. I like again.
We're making fun
one
of Tim
those...
Hortons more so than anything else.
Yeah, and you know what? I actually think it's
the young people in,
and I think it's a clever partnership. And I actually have liked Justin Bieber more as I've gotten older and as he's gotten older. And him being, a huge fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs and just and things like that. Where I had like when we were young, it was fun to make fun of Justin Bieber, right? And he was, but now I'm fine with it. And I think the Tim Hortons partnership is actually really funny and interesting and weird. And it is like one of those, like, how do you do, fellow kids kind of thing, like from Tim Hortons. But I mean, I hope Justin Bieber gets well soon. I know our friend Mike is a big fan too, and he had tickets to his concert, and it's been like postponed twice, and that stuff sucks. And especially dealing with a health issue like that, like you don't want to see anyone go through that. So just hope he gets well soon. But yeah, Biebs Brew. So we talked about Tim Biebs a little while ago. I think we talked about them on this show because I got them.
Yeah.
And I'm a sucker for a collab. I'm a sucker for a branded package. I'm a sucker. I haven't bought any merch or anything, but like I'm just a sucker for crap like this. I had to try the Frosty Chino when it came out. Any new thing that pops off at a fast food place or a coffee place, I'm like, if it's like a silly branded thing, like Starbucks comes out with a new drink, every week, it seems
the Batman
like.
as well, right?
Like, oh yeah, I had to get the Batman calzone and things like that. So we both had some Biebs Brew this week. Eric, what did you think? Because I thought it tasted like cold brew with vanilla in it.
I also think it tasted exactly as I expected a Tim Hortons French vanilla cold brew to taste, which was mediocre at best. And I feel like the combination of sweet but not too sweet, but then kind of chased with a bitter kind of classic
strong coffee
taste actually didn't work well at all with this. Like even when Tim Hortons is kind of cutting the sugary sweetness or the syrup or whatever they're using, it still is overly sweet. And so when you have that juxtaposition from the classic kind of like sugary cream to the kind of like classic cold brew coffee taste, it's like going from one extreme to another too quickly, and it's just like it kind of just tastes.
Did you mix yours all together? Because
I did. I tried it
because then you're just getting a mouthful of vanilla cream. Like I saw, like unless you stir it together.
No, I tried it once. Or the first sip.
You got the mouthful of vanilla cream, and then
but then I mixed it together, and then I was still kind of it was better, but it's still exactly what I expected it to be, which was kind of...
It just tastes like vanilla iced coffee. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, I thought it was perfectly fine. Like, and this is silly. We just like talking about dumb collaborations and especially cold brew. Like, that's what excited me. I am a big cold brew boy. I've been on the cold brew train for a long ass time. And
you're my cold brew boo.
For someone, we're showing our age too when we talk about all this stuff, but like regular coffee gives me bad acid reflux, and why I love cold brew is that it's way less acidic, and I just feel like it's stronger. It has way more caffeine usually, like cold brew to normal coffee. And I like that it's like chocolatey kind of, even though it's not chocolate. It's very bitter. I love cold brew with a little bit of oat milk. That's my go-to. This isn't cold brew. This is McDonald's iced coffee,
which is the funniest thing about this whole. We're having this conversation.
Yeah.
And people that are watching this.
You know what? I just love iced coffee, no matter where it comes from, and I know you're the same. Where I am picky. Like I prefer a a Starbucks Trenta cold brew with oat milk. That's my go-to. And I'll take an iced coffee from anywhere. I just prefer now not to have cream or lactose, again, showing that I'm an old fogey being like, oh, milk hurts my tummy, I need oat milk. So
you're an old-timey prospector now.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'll drink iced coffee from anywhere, but Tim Hortons cold brew I find better than their iced coffee. Like, I feel like their iced coffee is garbage because
Oh, it's bad.
their coffee is garbage. And I shit on Tim Hortons a lot, and I feel like it is weirdly overrated in Canada. Like, why people like it, I
It's the
don't understand.
convenience, and it's just
And
easy to order.
I fall into that a lot too, right? And I know you do too. You're just like,
Especially
it's the
if the
closest thing
location,
around,
right? Because there's
yeah, because it's
always a Tim
always there.
Hortons.
Yes, there you go. We sound
Always
like
Tim
yeah,
Hortons.
yeah. That used to be its yeah. So there's a Tim Hortons at a gas station right near me, which is like the worst possible Tim Hortons. But like, I'll go to it because I'm like, I don't know, it's close, and I don't feel like Uber Eats. Like, every time I Uber Eats a Starbucks coffee, I have to spend $15, and it ends up being like $20, and I have to order 2 cold brews and a
To
sandwich or
justify
something
yeah.
to do it. And I put 1 cold brew in the fridge for the next day or whatever. So Tim Hortons, like, I like their breakfast sandwiches. I like their bagels. I like their like baked goods. Like, I find Timbits are dope. Like, if anything at Tim Hortons is awesome, it's Timbits. A honey dip Timbit is fucking perfect. It's so simple, but it's so good. The Tim Biebs, too sweet, too much going on. Do I still get them every once in a while? Yeah. When I went the other day, I was like, you know what? I don't need a box of 10. Give me 1 of each. I need 3 Tim Biebs and my Biebs Brew, and I'm good. But yeah, anyways, this is just it. Yeah, the people I talked to, a few people that like, it was too bitter, and I'm like, y'all haven't had cold brew, have you? Like, I found it like not as sweet as I expected, which made me pleasantly surprised because it just tasted like cold brew with a vanilla sweet cream, which I sometimes would get from Starbucks if I was feeling like a fancy boy, like if I need a little treat. But other than that, yeah, it's
You
silly.
love that sweet cream.
I love the branding, and it makes me think about like, what would my thing be, right? Like, if you had Tim Biebs or Biebs Brew, what would the Roar Brew be, or the whatever it would be called, the March Brew,
The March and Mochiata.
Something
like
yeah.
that.
You like chocolate coffees? I don't.
No, I don't. I just was thinking something.
We're
that
plain
kind of
boys,
had
right? Like, you still put a little bit of sugar in your
yeah,
coffee,
yeah.
where
I like to
don't
dilute it a
anymore.
little bit. I mean, that comes from, I think, also just like my British background, where like even with tea, like
Sweet
I like
tea
putting
and stuff, yeah.
milk and
Yeah, my dad
some sort
loves
of
milk
sweetener.
and sugar. He puts so much sugar in his tea every day.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like going back to why I also like iced coffee more than just like regular hot coffee is that it's the quantity of it you can get more into you quicker, and
yeah.
you get that fix that you need to wake up or kind of keep going or what have you. And then yeah, with Tim Hortons iced coffee, it's more of a convenience. And I would say if anything, like, it's still bad, and I don't want to like give them a positive necessarily, but at the same time, there is this weird inconsistency with the iced coffee. It depends what time of the day you're getting it, who's serving it, and how much ice they put into it. Because sometimes when you get
I
it,
love a lot of ice. I'm weird.
yeah, when you don't get enough ice and
it's the worst,
and it's kind of
it's like
still warm, there's
it's
this
the worst.
weird, and I don't mean this in like someone's pissed in it or shit in it, but there's this weird kind of like,
yes,
it tastes soiled in a weird way, like
because it's not
weird.
cold and it's not hot. It's this weird middle ground, and then that's why I always go the cold brew, man, because the cold brew at worst is room temperature, where if you order the regular iced coffee, we're like going to be 30 minutes into this show and haven't talking about movies at all. I guess what I planned to watch on the plane we did, but this is the new iced coffee cast. Why I don't go regular iced coffees, because again, acidity, number one. Number two, a lot of the times these places are just taking their hot coffee and pouring it into a container or pouring it over ice, where it just melts all the ice and then becomes piss warm. And then like, it's awful. Like, and then you get like 2 little melted ice cubes, and and you know what also makes me uncomfortable? Drinking iced coffee without ice in it. I hate it. no matter, even if it's ice cold, if the liquid itself is ice cold, but there's no ice in it, I feel uncomfortable.
There
and I
needs
can't
to be
drink it.
something between you and the liquid, like a filter.
There needs to be like, this is getting borderline right now, but there's still, you need that little.
Now, do you feel that way when it's melted, when it's gone, or do you just feel that way when there is no ice in general? Because like if there's ice in it, then it's melted.
I will put more ice in. Like I will go to my freezer and get ice out and put it in because I need that little jingle jangle. I need it. And I need it to be like really fucking cold when I drink it. Because if it even gets under that temperature that like is really cold, I'm like, this is off-putting to me, where I just feel like I'm drinking coffee that was left out on the table. And that's kind of what iced coffee is at Tim Hortons, McDonald's. I don't know about Wendy's and stuff, but like Tim Hortons and McDonald's is like, you'll see them take the old coffee that they won't serve to people anymore and just dump it into the iced coffee thing. And I'm like, it's disgusting. And I'm like, I'll still drink it, but I'm just like, so wait, it's not good enough because Tim Hortons is like, we make a new pot of coffee every 20 minutes. I'm like, bullshit. But if anything, you're just dumping that into the iced coffee thing and then serving it to these schmucks that drink iced coffee. Anyways, Biebs Brew, 2.5 out of 5.
Yeah, same.
Like I might go 3 because it was drinkable. Like, would I drink it again?
I'm not.
Would I order it again? No. If someone gave me one, I would drink it. So that's kind of like at the 3 territory. I feel like maybe 2.5. But
it's not as disappointing as the Frosticino, but you know.
See, where I got hooked on those Frosty-Chinos for like 2 weeks, and I don't know what it was because I agree with you, not that good. But I think it was the quantity. The Wendy's large is the largest large I've had at a fast food place. So they will give you it's like an American size large where it's like a bucket of coffee. And sometimes I want that, dude. So what I started doing at Wendy's is I would order the Frosty-Chino, frosty on the side though. So I would get the cream on the side and just have a black iced coffee. So I could either just put like a little bloop right in it where I'd like just get a tiny bit of the vanilla or the chocolate, or I would just put my own oat milk in it and just not use the frosty mix and just have a regular iced coffee.
Right. Matt Rohrbeck life hack.
Dude, I've obsessed over iced coffee, and I'm one of those people we're both those guys who drink it year round. I think you sometimes hot coffee it in the winter, right?
Sometimes, like, well, it just depends. Like a nice hot French vanilla cappuccino.
Interesting.
I'm
like
totally.
From Tim Hortons?
Yeah, that's the one thing in Tim Hortons I actually don't mind.
It's so sweet.
It is, but it's a treat. Like you were mentioning, like
my
it's not,
sweet treat. Like,
it's not something I'm going to drink all the
order
time.
every day.
Yeah. And I still like drinking tea. Tea's something I find that is just comforting.
Do you just drink it black, or do you put milk in?
I put milk in it. Yeah. I don't like drinking anything, like I don't like drinking rocket fuel. Basically, like I can't. Right. I need something in there to.
I was on a black coffee kick for a while when I was trying to be healthier, which is not. I was just drinking, like you said, rocket fuel, sludge. But now I no sugar, little bit of oat milk. Or maybe sometimes just a glug of oat milk, and then I'm ready to rock. Tea, I raw dog it, nothing in every tea. Just I have to just
other than the bag. You love that bag slapping.
Yeah, I raw dog and just bag it, and that's how I go tea. And I'm a tea guy. If I'm having a hot beverage, it's gonna be tea, and it's not like I won't drink a hot coffee. And here, bringing it full circle, I'm going to Europe in tomorrow, which I keep talking about.
What you keep saying? Or you're already there technically. If some people are hearing this.
No Starbucks, obviously no Tim Hortons. They do have McDonald's. So
Papa John's.
I don't think they have Papa John's in Croatia.
Well, according to Uncharted, it's all over Europe.
It's in Barcelona for sure.
Yeah.
Is that where they were? Yeah.
Well, that's where Cooper Raph's ex was.
Go check out our Cha-Cha Real Smooth review, as well as our Lightyear. Spiderhead should be out now. Lightyear should be out later today if you're listening to this on Monday. And they have McDonald's, but like iced coffee isn't like a huge thing over there, especially because they don't have Starbucks in Croatia. So they call it ledena kava. Kava is coffee. Ledena is iced coffee. So iced coffee, ledena kava. And it's hard to find. And when you order it, I think they look at you weird at most places. But McDonald's, when I was there 3-4 years ago, just introduced a lead in a cava, so McDonald's iced coffee. Now they have a big version, because when I went, it was this little dinky cup. All the coffees in Europe, tiny little cups. They're like espressos, which I love espresso, but even the iced coffee, I'm like, guys, you got to give me 10 of these, and probably more than 10, and dump them into the same cup, because this is not enough.
Yeah.
So I have to go without iced coffee for probably the majority of the trip, unless I go to McDonald's every day, which I'm not against. I had it for dinner tonight. So
you better enjoy like tomorrow you better get like your fill of iced coffee.
Yeah, but I also don't like having a giant coffee before going on a plane too,
because you don't want to be that
if it was the
lucid
morning.
yeah.
If it was the morning, sure, but sometimes you never know, like with a giant cold brew, depending on, like you said, like the cold brew is dangerous as well, because it's so powerful that you're supposed to dilute it with water when you make it, right? And milk and or whatever, cream or whatever you're putting in it. If you get that person who doesn't do it or forgets, it will kill you pretty much. Because like I've had pure iced coffee that's just concentrate that you can tell it's just so bitter, and it just like kind of at the back of your teeth you feel
clenches
it,
your teeth and like your
and
jaw,
then you like, and then after you drink half the Trenta, you feel like you're fucking gonna hit the moon, because your fucking heart's going, and like I'm kind of jittery and like nervous, so I'm like, I don't like being that on the plane. So
or just in
especially
general, that's the one, like that's where you know you've gone too far. And usually like I think we've gotten there a couple times, like even during TIFF, where you're just fueled on, you know, caffeine. But even though there's more caffeine in coffee and tea, I don't know how some people, you know, can guzzle, you know, like Monster Energy drinks and
Red
things
Bull
like
and
that.
stuff,
And because I had that once and it felt like I was having a heart attack.
I'm still unhealthy, but when I was younger, even more so. When I worked at like GM and stuff like that, working midnights and stuff like that, like I crushed sugar-free Red Bull like it was nothing, dude. And like, and then when I was in college, I would drink vodka Red Bulls, which is just the worst thing you could possibly do.
That is a deadly combo.
And I had like heart palpitations at times, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore, and then I stopped. But I will say I haven't had a vodka Red Bull in a very, very long time.
I mean, what occasion comes up now that you would need it?
No, I'm not in my 20s. Eric, let's move on to the Lightyear press conference that we attended today. So Lightyear is being released this Friday, June the 17th, in theaters everywhere. Pixar's return,
sounding like James Brolin.
Pixar's return to movie theaters. You guys can check out our review of Lightyear, which is going up today, June the 13th at 5 p.m. Eastern. If you're listening to this before then you're hardcore, and we appreciate you.
Rock on.
Most likely you're listening to it after, so our Lightyear review should already be up. You can check out our social impressions of Lightyear over on our Twitter account. So Matt Rohrbeck and EM6211. I never know how that works because there's social reactions. So I'm like, we can't really talk about it because the embargo hasn't broke yet for reviews, but you can go check out our social reactions, which I don't know if we can talk about our social reactions, because then does it become a review? Anyways, we went to the press conference today. So we saw two different press conferences, one with the actors of Lightyear and one with the filmmakers of Lightyear. And these things are always interesting in different ways, right? Like we went to one for Turning Red, which we talked about on a review for the Turning Red a few weeks ago, or not a few weeks ago, I guess months ago now. And then I don't know how time works, everyone.
Nope. Just a flat circle.
Yeah. And, you get some insight and some, behind the scenes of the movie. I find them the most interesting when they get into the filmmaking aspect. So that's why the director and producer and musicians and stuff like that interest me a bit more than when you talk to the actors. Cause a lot of it, it's a mix of marketing and, it is marketing, but like insight into the movie. So I feel like even in the actor side of things, it's a little bit more interesting when they talk about the craft or them actually working on their with Pixar and the behind the scenes of stuff, rather than kind of some of the more silly questions or things like that. But how did you feel overall, Eric? Like, I don't know how you want to tackle the
the first panel was the actors, and Eric Davis of Fandango moderated both. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I think this time around, with the actors being separated in different rooms, it kind of takes away where the cast was all together for Turning Red. And to your point, you know, the actors, the voice actors, come into the production much later than the writer and the director and the composer or any of the producers. You know, they've been
And a lot of the
developing the
times they're just
project
doing a
for
job too,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Where the directors, the writers, the producers, you know, the composers have been on the project for years, you know, and they've been developing it for much longer. So their insights or their responses will be more intricate to the craft, but also just kind of the insight of what inspired them or what they were thinking and what have you, where the actors are going to give you the kind of like, oh, you know, like this is how I read the lines, or this is how I was, you know, directed by Angus MacLean in certain ways, and also how, you know, this experience maybe differed from previous voice recording sessions because of the pandemic, you know, like
Yeah, that was the
those.
most interesting stuff. So we
Yeah.
should say it was Chris Evans, Kiki Palmer, Dale Soules, Taika Waititi, James Brolin, and Peter Son on the actors side of things in
And
that first
Peterson's
one.
also an
And
animator
yeah,
and director
and
and
director,
part
yeah.
of the Pixar crew who, you know, the next movie that coming out, Elements or
Elementals, which is directed
Elementals.
by
Yeah.
Peter Son. Yeah,
So
so that was kind of fun
and I
too.
felt like there was a couple missed opportunities to kind of really get into like his whole legacy with kind of being a voice actor versus, you know, working
Hmm.
as a director. But again, you only have so much time, and it
Yeah, and you
started
have
late as well. So
and when you have this many people, and I agree with you that I feel like, and you could really tell in the second part, which we'll get to, when you know the three filmmakers or people behind the scenes people were all together for their press conference. It added some chemistry, it added some personality, it let them bounce off of each other, and it wasn't so, hey, here's the question for you, here's the question for you, even though that naturally happens. But I felt like in that first press conference, which the digital, I love this digital world because it lets us do things like this very easily, right? We don't necessarily have to go to, you know, they don't have to have a Canadian specific one in Toronto where only a handful of people show up to. They can do this big thing where everyone's together
well,
and all over the
internationally,
world.
right? Like
Internationally,
Denmark, there was
can,
somebody from
yeah,
Denmark asking a
who ask
question.
your question. Yeah. So that's great. And I think it's great for that. But then when it comes to the actual energy of it all and things like that, it can get a little like, all right, here's a question, answer, awkward silence. Okay, next person, let's go around like the Brady Bunch and go in the squares and ask everyone one question, which is no one's fault really, but like it ends up, I don't know, like they're the Turning Red one was so great because all of those all of the cast was in the same room, right? And you could feel the energy and the excitement from them all being a part of that project and kind of bouncing off each other's answers and different things like that, where that was a little missing here. But like I will say shout out to James Brolin, who was just bringing it straight and was hilarious because like they kept going to him and he'd be like, I don't even know what my role is
I
really.
haven't even
Like,
seen the movie yet.
yeah, he's like, I haven't seen it. I don't even know what Zurg is about. They just kind of told me like it's gonna be,
They let me
it's not what you
scat, but I don't
expect.
think I
Yeah,
did anything really, or that made it into the final thing. Yeah, no, and I actually got to say, I actually found Taika Waititi to be more funny
yeah.
in this press junket and conference than
Then in
in
the
the
movie,
film or in like
yeah,
the last couple things. And again, a lot of these people, even though the cast of Turning Red hadn't really met physically before, a lot of these people also hadn't met before, maybe with the
yeah.
exception of Chris Evans and Taika Waititi, because they both worked on Marvel productions. But
Until maybe the premiere the other night, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
and like Peter Sohn like even mentioned that, where like he only just met Chris Evans the other day, and like the relationship between Socks and Buzz Lightyear is, you
they're
know,
all playing off of like Angus MacLean, the director,
yeah,
or someone, or
or
recordings of
recorded
the other people. Yeah,
voiceovers, yeah. And so that's interesting. And like like I think also, I think it was um uh, who plays Darby again? I'm blanking on
Dale
this.
Souls.
Dale Souls, where she did mention something kind of interesting, where like there's the speed of which you
Yeah,
deliver lines changes. And I think that's kind of interesting, because I remember talking to Ki Hui Kwan about everything everywhere all at once. And part of the direction that the Daniels gave him with a lot of exposition is that, can you say it even faster? And so like that's just interesting in terms of just like a speed exercise.
Yeah. And I think that's what I got the most out of the actors press conference is were those little tidbits of the behind the scenes of working in the pandemic and how that was so kind of challenging and how you can create such a, you know, whether they're great performances or, you know, just this wonderful movie, but all done remotely, right? Like it must be really tough to kind of act that way because usually you'd get at least a couple people in the room together to do a lot of these recordings, like just so you can play off one another and different things like that. And maybe that, you know, we haven't, our review hasn't been posted yet, but you'll see kind of some of our criticisms of the movie. And I feel like maybe the COVID thing was a part of that when it comes to like the chemistry between the cast. And I think they all do a solid job, but like that stuff was really interesting that they had to make this whole movie basically during COVID and how the actors dealt with that. Like I thought the James Brolin stuff was really funny. Peter Son was great. He's just like a normal dude who's like sitting in the, and then Pixar does that every once in a while because Turning Red also had one of their animators do a voice as well, right? And
Yeah, I mean
or yeah,
they've always had, you know, voice, like if like even the cook in Ratatouille, like
yeah.
it's one of those things where like if it's usually a temporary voice track, but
And
sometimes
then
they'll
they just
keep it in
like
if it
it.
just
Yeah.
works, you know, for the
Yeah, that's
character.
cool. That's great. And then they moved over to part 2 of the press conference, which was Galen Sussman, Angus MacLean, and Michael Giacchino, who are the, you know, the director, the producer, and the composer for the movie. And I think Eric and I, we always lean, like we love actors, and you know, you know, we can't have movies without great actors, but I think we always kind of lean more on the filmmaking side of things when it comes to movies. Like we're big fans of directors and, you know, and composers and different things like that. Like I think Michael Giacchino, while we had a whole section of a podcast recently on him because it was like, oh, is he oversaturated? He's working, spreading himself too thin. But I think he is one of the best working composers when it comes to big kind of blockbuster filmmaking.
And he's a
But it,
bootlegger.
yeah,
he
yeah,
records
yeah,
like he talked about recording as a kid, like
yeah,
the
scores.
entire score and reaction from the audience and then listening back to it, which I thought was funny. So those videos where it's like, you wouldn't steal a DVD are meant for people like him.
Michael Giacchino would steal a score from a movie because he'd have to wait so long for it to come out on tape or
But there's
whatever.
truth
But
to that, because like back in
um,
the 80s and early 90s, even like, you know, VHS wasn't readily available. Physical media wasn't what it is now. The internet didn't exist, you know, so you'd be lucky to come across it again unless it was on cable or, you know, there was a re-release theatrically of something.
or you get the vinyl of something if you wanted
Yeah,
the score, right?
if it was available, like not everything
Yeah.
got a vinyl release.
But I really liked this, you know, like I mentioned before, like I liked that all three of them were in the room together. Like they kind of played
Where
off
it
one
happened,
another
in the
and
room
like,
where it
yeah.
happened.
And I just like, I loved hearing the behind the scenes of it all, right? Like some of it is, you know, the typical stuff of why you chose it to be the movie within the movie kind of thing, which I do think is an interesting, you know, the differences between the toy Buzz Lightyear and this live action Buzz Lightyear in Andy's universe. Some cool, interesting stuff there. And just seeing these three talk about it, Michael Giacchino talking about how he always wants to know the saddest part of a movie because that's where he likes to start, is like the emotional core, what's the most brutal or sad moment in the movie, and that's where he wants to start his score and then build out those more fun moments from it. The sci-fi influences and that they talked about, that Angus MacLean just was like obsessed with 80s sci-fi, and they always talked about this movie being kind of that 80s 90s kind of sci-fi movie. So I felt the conversation was good between the three. I liked this press conference.
Yeah, and Galen Suzman as well,
Yeah.
who has been working,
Started, yeah.
yeah, at Pixar. You know, in the lighting division when it was all technical and not
She worked on Toy Story.
artisans. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so like her talking about the progression of how Pixar has evolved and the technical capabilities have
That
gotten
was
so
cool.
much better. Yeah, and just seeing like hearing that from somebody who has been with the company for so long in you know a different position in different time in working that, and sort of now going from Toy Story to the man behind the toy and her talking about that. Like, I thought all that was really interesting. But then the best question was the last question, which I was actually weirdly surprised that nobody talked about it beforehand or mentioned it in any way. Like, even with Eric Davis, the this being the first, Pixar animated IMAX feature, to actually use IMAX technology and not for it just to be enhanced in post production.
Yeah, I agree. Great question.
You asked the question,
I did, yeah.
which I was laughing my ass off, because it's like, of course Matt is going, like I was waiting. It's like, nobody's asking this, and then when I heard your name, I'm like, I know what he's asking. And usually, it's anything with aspect ratios, it's gonna be Matt.
Yeah. I was sitting here, and I don't usually, we've only participated in a couple of these like virtual press conferences, and I was sitting here and I was had the same thought as you, where I'm like, I liked the questions that were being asked, but like I kind of like to get into, it's not even super nerdy, because IMAX is obviously very mainstream, very, it's a huge thing. It almost sounds like a very promotional style question of like telling everyone, oh, it's an IMAX, make sure you go see it in IMAX. But like, I'm a big proponent uh of the IMAX technology and full frame IMAX and 70 millimeter shooting things. Like, I can't wait to see Nope, because it was shot on IMAX film. And like, I love aspect ratio changes. I love when movies play with that kind of stuff. And seeing it in IMAX was, I think, something that was like, I don't know what the hell we're allowed to say, but like I needed to ask about IMAX essentially, because no one was. And I was like, all right, I'm going to write a question in my Apple Notes, and I'll see if I like how it's worded. And then I just copy and pasted it into the Q&A thing. And I'm like, okay, I've never asked a question on one of these things. Maybe it'll get asked, maybe it won't. So I submitted it, and then things were going, and I'm like, oh, they must not have, maybe it was too wordy or whatever. But yeah, it was very nice to, actually, Emma Badame also had a question from that shelf. Shout out to Emma. I recognized her name as well. But yeah, the IMAX question, they went into detail of it being the first animated movie to be in full scope IMAX, and how Angus pitched that to the head of Pixar, and they were all for it. And they thought it was like a really kind of interesting thing to play around with. And he talked about trying it in different scenes and how he'd be like, no, that doesn't work at all. They would go to the AMC at Metreon in San Francisco. And he's like, it was really fun because it was during the pandemic when no one was really, all the theaters were closed, but they would go into the theater to test this IMAX footage. And they talked about like even the people at IMAX nerding out about it because it was something new for them, right? Like, I'm sure the Nolan stuff and everyone who's used IMAX film and that full scope, Mission Impossible, different things, like that's all really, really cool. But seeing an animated movie for the first time that way, I think was probably pretty special for them. So, and it was for me watching it, like for someone who is a huge fan of Pixar, a huge fan of animation, and huge fan of IMAX. It was kind of mesmerizing, like it opening up to that full scope. And he even talked about the transitions between those scenes, because that's what I kind of mentioned, that it like seamlessly kind of opened and closed that aspect ratio really, really nicely. And I was happy that they asked that question, and I thought it was a good way to, not pat myself on the back, but I thought it was a good question to end on. And it was kind of more of a filmmaking question for them and stuff like that, even though it's a little PR-y in the it go see it in IMAX kind of thing. But it is
But
something that I
it
will
ties in nicely as well with even that last question, where like the history of Pixar, where the
yeah,
idea that you had technicians working on it, and then over the years, like even when like one of the promotions for something like Wall-E or Up was that they had Roger Deakins come in and consult on the cinematography, and it kind of felt like that was a big deal at that point, because they were actually looking at the shots not just as animated stills, but as camera angles, and like from the point of view of what it would be like from a camera, and how the lighting would reflect on certain surfaces or certain characters, and how things should be lit based on what time of the day it is. And like having Roger Deakins come in, who
yeah,
for all intents and purposes is probably the most famous cinematographer working, it's like, okay, that brings not only a new form of legitimacy, but it's groundbreaking for the animated world to kind of include
totally.
that. And then with IMAX, when you asked that question, they talked about how this is a strange new frontier for them to explore as well. And kind of, this is an interesting stepping stone to see, what they'll take from this into the future of their, their films.
I think it's so cool because like they opened up a world of possibility, because I think it is really difficult to shoot with those big ass IMAX film cameras, which gives you that full scope IMAX. Like we are seeing a lot of movies shoot with the digital IMAX cameras that gives you, a pretty large scope, but like doesn't open it up to that full, 1:4 aspect ratio of an IMAX screen. So
Well, even with
when you
Top Gun
see,
Maverick again, right?
yeah,
Like the
it
idea
only,
of the
yeah,
those small little cameras that go into the cockpit,
yeah,
where it's continually advancing, but
totally,
there's a usefulness to it. Like it's not just because, oh, we can make them smaller. It's like we need to
yeah.
make them smaller.
And that works for that movie, right? But I would have also loved if it opened up to the full fucking scope. Like that would have been even better, but there's no way you can fit that camera in a
An
cockpit. So
F-18, yeah.
they have to make digital versions, which still the clarity is incredible and the scope is still very large. You get that kind of 1:9 aspect ratio. But I don't know. The 1:4, it's almost like square aspect ratio of an IMAX screen. When it fills up that whole thing, there's something about it that is like, oh, I cannot get this experience anywhere else. Like you can't imitate this at home. Like there's nowhere else I can kind of get this. Like sure, there are other formats, 4DX, Dolby, all these different things, and they all have their pros and cons. But and IMAX has its pros and cons. But like when movies open up to that aspect ratio, I think it is like one of the most mesmerizing things in film. And for an animated movie to do that for the first time, it opens up a world of possibilities because you don't have to use that big clunky camera. You just have to use that aspect ratio and have the clarity and use it like you would be using that big camera. Because again, like you mentioned, Eric, a great point about the cinematographers. And since they started doing that with Deakins, I feel like each movie they bring on a cinematographer, whether they are specialized as digital, animation cinematography and different things like that. Like they talk about the cinematographer on this movie working with the IMAX stuff. And I think now, because it's all creating a 3D space, it's not just 2D animated. Like you basically have the camera that can move anywhere, right, in a space, and you're still setting it up like a classic film camera where like you're blocking and different things like that. So yeah, it was really really interesting, and I love the format, and I hope other animated movies see it and go, oh shit, we can do that. Can we? That's like that's if you're making a big like action popcorn movie, like imagine Spider-Verse or Sony doing something really really cool. And there's so many possibilities, and I think it's really awesome.
Yeah, it kind of it again. Like I didn't see Lightyear in IMAX, but anytime I see an IMAX movie and the aspect ratio opens up, it, the most recent experience I had that kind of felt similar, or I could equate it to, was when we went to the Jays game for your bachelor party, and the opening of the Sky Dome felt like, when it was
Sure.
opening, like it really kind of unleashed like this new. I mean, it would be terrible for someone like who's agoraphobic, but like the way that it opens up, it kind of feels like you are really truly being even more immersed into the world that you're watching on the screen. And it's not just, you're not just watching the movie, you're experiencing it.
And that's really kind of it. And we haven't had a ton of them. Like a lot of them are just Nolan, right? So you got to think like movies that open up the full scope. Dune would have been the most recent example, right?
Yeah.
Dune has full scope IMAX. Tenet, obviously. Dark Knight, Dark Knight Rises, Dunkirk, Star Trek Into Darkness had a couple moments. First Man, Eternals did, which I never saw in IMAX.
Neither
It
did I.
opened up to full scope. Interstellar, a lot of similarities between um that and Lightyear. And then No Time to Die I would have loved, because they did shoot a bunch of that on IMAX film, but because of the time it came out, we saw a screener of it. And I hope that comes to Cinesphere eventually, because it shot in IMAX for a couple sequences, like full frame IMAX, and I never got to check that out because I don't know if it really even played in IMAX anywhere close. Maybe it played Scotiabank, but I forget why I never made it out there. But
Well, I mean,
um,
timing as well, I think, is a big thing, where it's just like
yeah,
sometimes you can't. I mean, I'm very curious to see how something like Nope, even though it's still a genre movie, it's not necessarily science fiction, or completely science fiction. It's playing with
Sure.
horror as well. So like I would love to see, other movies that aren't just like the typical like action sci-fi fare,
It's
really
interesting.
say like,
Oppenheimer is going to be in IMAX, and that
yeah,
like doesn't necessarily scream like an action movie or anything like that. It's the first IMAX black and white movie, which will be interesting and jarring.
but I'm
But
sure there will
yeah,
be something to it. Like I'm sure like there will be a sequence where there's like a testing sequence,
yeah,
that kind of justifies like,
that's
oh,
fair.
why it's shot this way. But yeah, like it would be cool to see more animated movies, more horror films, more films that you wouldn't expect. Like even a drama. Like it would be interesting to see like how could you utilize, IMAX cameras and the technology in a way that isn't just gimmicky, that actually would open it up in a way that would be kind of interesting.
hmm We were just talking about RRR, and in certain territories, it had an IMAX release that opened up to 1.9, which is like what Marvel does with all their movies. It basically just is full scope. It's basically 185, which is what your TV is, or what a not exactly your TV, but what a normal widescreen that's not CinemaScope. But um, yeah, I would love that to maybe pop over to Cinesphere, and then yeah, the other stuff that we know, that like Lightyear is in 143. That's the full IMAX scope. Avatar is obviously going to have a big IMAX release that is a 178 aspect ratio. Nope shot some stuff in IMAX 70 mil, and then I think Oppenheimer is going to be the next thing that's probably shot on IMAX film cameras, 70 millimeter after Nope. So the rest is a lot of Marvel stuff that uses a lot of the RE digital cameras and different things like that, which they keep getting better and better, and they look great. Don't get me wrong, but there's something about that full scope IMAX that uh, is mesmerizing. But yeah, that was a Lightyear press conference. That was cool to have a question read. Will I do that every time we go to one of these? Maybe, but if if there's something to ask about aspect ratios, probably, or something like that. But shout out to them. Shout out to Eric, doing a good job. Not you, Eric
No,
Davis. You did nothing.
I'm a piece of shit. Yeah.
Man. Uh, let's move over to Jurassic World Dominion.
Talking about
Eric,
big pieces of shit. Oh my goodness, Matt.
um,
If you do not see this while you're on, your honeymoon and wedding, I would not hold this against you. Nobody would. You don't have to, but I know you're also a completist and
I
you do
know
love the world. But man, your expectations need to
every
be zero for
I know, and
this.
they are now, dude. Believe me, because everyone I talk to or everyone I see is like, it sucks, and I'm like, fuck, man. Like, I've had people. You gave it 1 star on Letterboxd.
Yep.
The Kind of Funny crew, Tim Geddes. I haven't obviously listened to their in review yet because I'm gonna wait to see the movie. But he said it was one of the worst movies they've reviewed on in review. He's like, it's there with Transformers: The Last Night as one of the worst movies that they've ever reviewed on their show. And I'm like, fuck, it's that bad?
It's
It's
pretty
that
bad.
bad?
Yeah.
Oh my
I
God.
mean, I would
Why?
say
So
that
like what?
Transformers: The Last Night is somewhat more memorable, and that Anthony Hopkins is just giving
Sure.
like an unhinged performance. Where this,
I've heard this is just more
everybody's
dull. Yeah.
it's
But like,
so boring. I've never seen a
yeah.
film like we were talking about like watching this movie, and like part of it is like the Jurassic World Park franchise is very inconsistent. You know,
At best, the sequels are fine. At
yeah,
worst, they're pretty bad.
and with this, like it's almost like, okay, this is the end of the World trilogy, probably the end of Colin Trevorrow's involvement with the series. You're
It
tying
definitely
up.
won't be the last Jurassic movie, but
No, no, no,
yes.
no, because there's still money to be made, but they'll
I bet
have
you
to
they just
reboot
remake.
this thing
They're gonna remake
completely.
the original
Yeah.
soon,
Or they'll do
probably,
a
which
prequel to
sucks.
that when like John Hammond is like creating Jurassic Park,
We
and like
need
there's
a John Hammond origin story.
exactly. I wouldn't be surprised, like them kind of like, because like there's stuff in this that has like the origins of the
Young
park from
Hammond.
'86 that are like on these short little videos, but um yeah, like part of this, like watching this movie, like not only watching it, but the people that were making it, it both felt equally from both perspectives like an obligation than anything else. And when you're watching,
A
these
paycheck for Trevorrow after he's fired from Star Wars, or
yeah, and it's weird because tonally it doesn't really know what it wants to be. Does it want to be a spy film? Does it want to be an action adventure movie? Does it want to be not even a horror film, but like it's not a Jurassic Park or Jurassic World movie really. Like it's kind of trying to be like a disaster film for the most part. And
yeah,
there's stuff in this where it kind of feels like Colin Trevorrow is almost realizing that this is the end of the line for him. So I'm going to put everything I've always wanted to do in one movie, but everything I've wanted to do in one film is either redundant or just never really connects, and it loses focus of being a fun B movie, which I think it could have been if it was directed by somebody else and there was a rewrite on the script. And then when you're bringing in legacy characters that
that's what pains me the most when people say this movie sucks.
and
Is
they're
like,
all on autopilot, like all
yeah,
like Goldblum, Dern, and Neil like are literally collecting a paycheck, and the way that it cuts back and forth between their story intersecting with Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard and the events of Fallen Kingdom, it's not interesting on either end. I think that the way that Campbell Scott portrays Dodson, we got Dodson here. One, you're gonna laugh at a couple of callbacks, but
okay, sick.
two, they they vilify somebody who clearly is on the autistic spectrum
Okay,
because they make him like socially awkward and he's not able to
right,
really communicate with people. But it's just like, let's make the autistic guy the evil super villain who doesn't care
sure,
about anybody and basically like will sacrifice everything for his own vision of the world. And it's just like,
yeah,
give me a break. And then they retcon BD Wong quite a bit in this, where like they were kind of building him up to kind of be like the big bad for this
yeah,
movie, and then they kind of go back on that. And then
right,
there's stuff in this movie that I was laughing at, and
mm-hmm.
it was all at it, not with it. And it just gets to
Mm-hmm.
the point where the moments that are so ludicrous and over the top or kind of don't feel fleshed out are never enough to make you enjoy it because it is one way too long. A lot of the plot is contrived. A lot of the supporting characters are uninteresting. The people that they bring back are terrible, or the people that they reference from even like the first Jurassic World movie and where they are now is
Jimmy
laughable.
Buffett.
Not Jimmy Buffett, but a couple other characters. And yeah, it's a mess. It is a dino dud on the largest scale possible.
Not that I was
It makes
expecting
Fallen
much, but
Kingdom look
like
like a masterwork.
that scares the shit out of me because I fucking hate Fallen Kingdom, or at least I did when I
Oh,
saw it.
you'll
But
love
like,
Fallen Kingdom after this.
actually, to be fair to Fallen Kingdom, I hated the last act of Fallen Kingdom, like the last half of it. I
Yeah.
didn't love the first half of it, but the first half felt more Jurassic Park. But like, I love the opening of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and I even don't mind the stuff of them going back before the volcano erupts. But like, then it just goes off the rails with the haunted house kind of auction thing. And then when people say that, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to try to rewatch all five before I go see it. Whether I just throw them on at night before bed and stuff while I'm in Europe, but like, cause I would love to revisit them, cause I haven't done a full rewatch in a very long time, because those sequels just, I think me and you don't mind some of Lost World, and even Jurassic Park 3 isn't terrible. It's just kind
Oh,
of,
it's so much better after
yeah, that's
watching
what I mean.
this.
Like, everyone's like, Jurassic Park 3 seems like a masterpiece, and like even Jurassic World seems like a masterpiece after this. So like, and each time I watched Jurassic World, I liked it less. I was riding on that nostalgia high when that movie first came out. Every subsequent viewing of that movie, I'm like, all right, I see a lot of your guys' points. It's pretty stupid.
Yeah.
like and like I But it's at least still somewhat, because it's just the first movie over again. It's your classic legacy sequel thing.
But at least
Where
there had been some time between
yeah,
Jurassic Park 3 and
exactly.
that movie, and that's where they should have brought back Laura Dern,
Yes.
Sam Neill, and
They
Jeff
should have all
Goldblum.
been in World, because then they've been like, they've dealt with a theme park fucking going awry. They could have incorporated them into that movie and it would have made sense. I don't know. Again, I'm coming from someone who hasn't seen this, but everyone I talk to who I trust, like me and you, are pretty aligned when it comes to movies.
Oh
Like
god, it's so bad,
there's
Matt.
the odd time. Maybe my expectations will be so low that I'm like, oh, that wasn't as awful as everyone said, but like that's the best case scenario in this. If I can give it a 2 or a 2.5 because my expectations are so low that I'm like, oh, I was expecting this to be horrible and it's just bad. So
It makes
that's
Roger
where.
Corman's Carnosaur series look like a Hollywood blockbuster in
So Colin
comparison.
Trevorrow,
I think he's done after
yeah,
this.
he's got to be, right? Like if he's fired from a Star War, he makes Book of Henry and then he follows that up with this, which again I haven't seen, but I'm trusting people that I trust.
I mean, he is a
Um
white male, so he could still
That's what
follow
people
up.
keep saying. There's like no other, like no woman or person of
Person of
color
color, no.
could fall upwards like he has, where he just makes like movie after movie that people are like, this is awful, and like stop, and like trying to make a Star Wars movie, and they're like, this isn't working. Like, and we got Rise of Skywalker from that, which whatever. But could you imagine what it would have been if it was Trevorrow, right? Like,
The
um,
Emperor has returned. And it'd be like in this, it'd be like the T-Rex has returned.
yeah,
Like it's so bad. It like the callbacks and like the reference, like the jokes when they are intentional are hammy
sure.
in a non-good way. Like they're not even good enough to be dad jokes. And then the callbacks are so ludicrous in how they bring certain things back or reference certain things, to the point where it's like, man, you are trying way too hard to kind of like incorporate everything that reminds you of the first movie, where you could just be watching the first film at home and enjoying yourself, because
Is
that first
perfect.
movie is so good
It's
that it has not okay, so what are there now, like 5 sequels? So
5 sequels, 6 total, yeah.
6 total. With those 5 sequels, it still hasn't tainted how good that first
No,
movie is.
and that's
And the
saying
effects in
something.
that first film are
Are
10
better
times
than
better than what's in Jurassic Park Dominion, because it looks like they did it like 5 minutes before the film was released. It's so bad.
ah,
It's so bad, Matt.
ah.
It's so bad.
This pains me, and it's not like I was even expecting much. Like you just said, it's, you see The Lost World, you're like, okay, it's not Jurassic Park, but like there's some stuff there. Jeff Goldblum's kind of fun. His daughter doing the gymnastics, awful.
Yeah.
The scene over the ledge
With
with
Eddie
the
Carr being
RV
bitten in
is,
half.
yeah, that scene is awesome, I
Yeah.
think. And then the last act kind of sucks when in San Diego.
There's
Um
nothing in this. And there's some really
and
horrible like things that they think are cool, or like maybe
Vince
they're
Vaughn
setting
in
it
the
up
third one
for well, no,
more.
Vince Vaughn's not in the third one.
Oh, second one.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
thinking the
yeah,
second one. Yeah,
yeah,
because
because
it's what's his
Alessandro
name?
Nivola,
Yeah, okay.
who teams up with Sam Neill
Yeah.
in that one. With this as well, like there's stuff where
And
they're
William
like
H. Macy, right?
even even and Tia Leone, the way that they explore, the world of man and dinosaur,
Living
basically
together or whatever.
cohabitating.
Yeah,
Like there's never anything that's remotely interesting that you couldn't find in an episode of the Flintstones, that was actually would
sure.
be better incorporated into how even the live action Flintstones movie
Yeah.
has some more interesting stuff with like the dynamic
Dinos
between
and
dinos
man,
and
or
man
in
and
person. Yeah.
humankind, and
Yeah.
like you're watching it and you're thinking to yourself, wow, like there's a lot, there are opportunities that you just either overlooked, and like instead you have like this ridiculous black market, which is basically, Colin Trevorrow being like, I didn't get a Star Wars movie, but I'm going to do my cantina weird thing here. And
Oh
like, it's
yeah.
just so, it is
Probably
so
following
bad.
up on the auction from the last movie, trying to
There's,
play on that, right?
yeah,
But
there's a thing in this that is going to be the new Nuke the Fridge, in the way that Nuke the Fridge was a part
no,
of Indiana
no.
Jones and the Kingdom
Hey,
of the Crystal
hey,
Skull.
I don't hate Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, because here's the thing, didn't care about Indiana Jones. So I feel like I didn't have that like reverence for it to be mad about that movie, where Jurassic Park I do.
Yeah.
So like that's I think the difference where um in Indiana Jones, the nuke the fridge thing never bothered me, and I actually kind of liked Kingdom of the Crystal Skull because I don't care about Indiana Jones, and I watched them all together, like because I hadn't watched them when I was a kid. So Crystal Skull didn't bother me all that much, and I kind of liked Kate Blanchett, and I liked the aliens in that movie. So I don't know, but anyways, I am going to see it in Croatia. I talked to Nevis about it today, and she hasn't even seen the second half of Fallen Kingdom
Whew.
because she bailed. So if everyone doesn't know that story, we saw Fallen Kingdom in Croatia, went to like a Saturday afternoon showing. Horrible idea because like every kid in fucking Pula was there, and I think because of the the language thing is they're reading subtitles, so they talked a lot throughout the movie because I don't think they needed to hear the dialogue. They would just read the dialogue, and then they're children, so they talk to one another, but it was very distracting to the point where I'm like, we got to go. I can't sit here. I can't watch this right now. So we left before they even get to the mansion in Fallen Kingdom. I went back after we returned from that trip and saw it in IMAX at Scotiabank by myself, like a month after it came out or 2 weeks after it came out. It was dead. And I was like, okay, I shouldn't have gone back to see the rest because it's not very good. Where this
you don't need to hear or read it.
like, should I? Obviously I shouldn't, you're going to say, but like,
If
I
you
feel
have
like
to.
I need to. I feel like I need to. And
I mean,
I'm sure there will be one
go.
part.
I think as a fan of the franchise and as a film critic and somebody who
Yeah.
talks about movies regularly,
You
still
kind of
go,
have to,
but
yeah.
don't have any expectations.
No, I have
Because
none. I had none before this, and then now I really don't have any.
the Book of Henry
Like,
is more interesting.
no. Oh, that's so painful. And I don't know what you do. You have to reboot it at this point.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
you
Oh,
just
like even like one character that they're kind of setting up as like the Han Solo of this movie. That's a new character, and it kind of feels like even when you introduce new characters into a third film in general, it's a tough sell because it's like
let
you're
alone a
ending.
sixth one.
Yeah, and when you're ending something as well, when this is kind of a conclusion to this 6 film arc, if it is an arc, I don't think it really is. It's like, well, what's the point? And the character, the way that like she's kind of integrated into the story, it's so lazily put together, the script. Like again, like it's all kind of like looking at it from an environmental point of view, and like how the world is on its last legs, and what can we do to save it, or what can we do if we've already done too much to reverse the problems, or at least course correct in some way. And everything that it does, it just literally shits the bed, and to the
That
point.
sucks because that is a cool concept, though. Like, I think on paper, when you think of what these movies started as, like, oh, what would, like, that's the end game. So it's natural that this being the sixth movie, the end of this franchise or whatever, um, that the dinosaurs have escaped. They're in the world. They're causing havoc. We have to deal with that. That sounds cool. So it sucks that they just dropped the ball on all of that because I feel like that could have been interesting, but
Yeah,
oh
and
well.
again, like it kind of feels like that first Jurassic Park movie could have been this or Jurassic Park 3, but I think you had the right group of people working together at the right time. You had
Yeah.
Spielberg, who kind of, can elevate the monster movie or the genre film, with his style of storytelling and kind of that whimsical quality that's never too saccharine. And then you have someone like David Kiep, um, who is a guy who understands B movies, and then you have someone like Stan Winston, who was an amazing
Yeah.
practical effects animator and was working with CG at a time that again you were able to kind of mix the two and kind of still use in camera practical effects for a lot of the scenes and make them stand out, but enhance them with additional CGI. Like there's nothing in this movie that's as memorable as, you know, the T-Rex pavilion sequence in that first film, or when Dennis Nedry, you know, sneaks in to take the Barbasol can and put all the DNA files into that, and then it tries to escape and meets the Dilophosaurus. There's nothing in this movie that is even remotely fun, you know, or memorable in any way. It's also weirdly mean-spirited at times with some of its humor and references, and like the cloning stuff in general is just terrible.
I mean, people rip apart that one scene from World that is just super mean to that assistant, right?
Yeah,
It's
which
just like,
she was never even portrayed as a mean person. So it's like, what was the point of doing that? And like, it just kind of seemed almost like hateful.
yeah. I'll let you guys know what I think, probably on Twitter. So at Matt Rohrbeck, I'll probably tweet about it once I eventually see it in the next probably week, because I'll want to see it before the wedding, probably. And I don't know, we'll see. I don't know what other movies I'll probably see in Croatia, but probably just that. I don't think anything else really. You know, Black Phone comes out while I'm over there, and
You want to
trying
see
to think what
Elvis?
else. Oh, I think we are going to see Elvis, actually, because like the cool thing, I don't know if I talked about it on the show, but the cool thing about one of the small towns we're going to be nearby or even staying in, they have an outdoor cinema where it's open air, and they play new release movies, but it's just like one showtime usually, and then they play something else a couple days later. So I even saw that Jurassic World is playing there, but I don't think it's playing while we're in the area, but or else I would probably do that. But Elvis is playing, and Elvis is one of those movies, obviously Baz Luhrmann, not really our guy, I would say. Like neither of us are a huge fan, although I am hit or miss with him. Like I don't hate him, even though he is one of those filmmakers that I think are love him or hate him.
Yeah.
So I am in that weird middle ground where I'm like not indifferent. I lean more towards I don't like his style, but the odd time I don't mind it, even though it gives me a headache after every time I see one of his movies. Like I don't mind Great Gatsby. I like Romeo and Juliet.
You
Just
love
for the night.
Australia.
No, I do not love Australia. But like something like Moulin Rouge never did anything for me, and I've tried to watch Moulin Rouge a couple times, and I'm like, can't do this. But I think the '90s-ness of Romeo and Juliet works for me, and that's why I kind of like that. And Gatsby, like you know, his shtick of being glitter and in your face and fucking spinning cameras and fucking and close-ups and just fucking kinetic energy and modern music in times where there isn't supposed to be modern music, and like it's the same fucking thing, and it sometimes worked, and Gatsby felt like a movie that, you know, it did kind of work for me. But I don't know about Elvis. Like I am curious, which is why I think Nevis and I are like, yeah, I'll go sit outside at an outdoor movie theater and watch Elvis for 3 hours or however long
Tom
it is.
Hanks and a ton of prosthetics.
Yeah, it's 160 minutes.
Oh,
Jesus
that's the
Christ.
thing that scares me the most. It's like, especially if you don't, if the film isn't working for you and you
Yeah.
know that it's almost, you know, 3 hours long, you're just kind of sitting there to yourself like, oh my God, I still have like 2 hours of this.
Yeah.
You know.
And then I'm gonna miss, unfortunately, the screening they're doing here of Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. So I'll probably have to see that when I come back. Man from Toronto opens, ironically, while I'm not in Toronto. I will be the Man from Toronto in Europe. But I don't think I'll watch that on Netflix. But Black Phone I do really want to see, but I'll have to maybe watch when I get back. So and then Thor comes out right when we come back. So I was already like
God,
talking
we'll be
to the
in
Disney
July
people.
by then.
I know, man. Well, I don't want to get there yet because I got 3 weeks of Europe that I would like to enjoy. So all right. Where do you want to go anywhere next, or you just want to wrap up, man?
I mean, I talked about Jurassic World dog shit.
Yeah, sure. Did we miss anything on the trailer or news side that we wanted to talk about? You told me about the Duke Nukem movie.
Oh yeah.
I love Duke Nukem, and because it's the Cobra Kai guys that I'm absolutely down for it. I don't think with anyone else I would have been.
Did you play Duke Nukem as a kid? I just
Oh
remember
yeah,
like the action figures and just
yeah,
really.
baby. Wasn't it like I forget what Duke Nukem's catchphrase is, but
Yeah, but he was always kind of like an amped up version of a Schwarzenegger or Stallone
yes,
or Bruce Willis in kind of the
yes,
video game form, and like he had kind of cool alien mutant creatures that he would kind of like blast away with his big gun.
yep.
He was almost kind of like a more beefier version of Ash in a weird way.
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit. And then it always reminded me, I feel like the early Duke Nukems, no, that was Wolfenstein. I'm like, I know Doom and Wolfenstein always looked really similar because I remember playing those games on my like uncle's PC back in the day. And I'm like, playing, I'm
Are you playing it
listening.
now?
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's great. I can't wait. We'll see. I don't know who they get to play Duke
Well,
Nukem
John
now.
Cena was
Would
originally attached
yeah.
to a version before. I don't know if this is the same project, but he kind of like fits that
I
bill,
could
at
see
least in
that.
physicality.
You just need a big himbo, right? Like
Yeah.
just I'm definitely
And
down.
probably somebody that
Um
hasn't been used as much, because obviously when you think of like that kind of body type, you're going to John Cena or Chris Hemsworth or someone like that, right?
even
So
Hemsworth almost seems too, svelte. Like he feels like he's too trim. Like Hemsworth is a big dude, but he's more cut, I feel like,
yeah,
where
where Duke Nukem is like a guy that's just like
like the Rock,
exploding
but
with
Rock,
muscle.
like the Rock's muscles you need for a guy like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Could you
I
imagine The Rock with like that hairpiece, that buzz cut that
I
Duke
would
Nukem?
love it. Just make the Rock Duke Nukem. Give him a blonde hairpiece and just go for it. I actually think the Rock could do a really fun job with Duke Nukem.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Rock, we got the Black Adam trailer, which did absolutely nothing for me.
I still
Literally
want to see
nothing.
this movie, even though I agree with you that the trailer's not great. I'm always going to be curious with Jean-Claude Serra. Like even Jungle Cruise, which really
Yeah,
did nothing at all. But I just like him enough, that filmmaker, in terms of
I'm
the
with you.
vulgar auteur, to see him do bigger and bigger movies. Like seeing films like House of Wax, which I think there's a lot of really good stuff in there, like with the action set pieces, especially in that third act with the wax museum burning down and like Orphan
Hmm.
being ridiculous as well with that twist.
Yeah.
And then like even with him progressing with the Liam Neeson movies, like I think Nonstop is actually a pretty fun like 90s throwback action film. And um yeah, like the trailer, I think part of it is that maybe the CGI does not look great. DC's track record again has been kind of mostly miss.
Spotty.
Um,
Yeah.
and again, like I still want to see it because that morbid curiosity, like, is there going to be something in here that's going to be like kind of weird or off-putting in a way that some of his other movies have stuff that's kind of interesting, or is this just going to be completely, homogenized by the brand name of it all? And I actually do really like the idea of The Rock playing against type and not playing necessarily a hero, and
Yep.
playing somebody who will do horrible things. Like, even though I hate Doom, at least The Rock in that was playing the villain. And I like The Rock as a good guy as well, but I like when he plays
But
the
I liked
villain.
when he was a villain in WWE. I thought he was a great villain. I'm definitely intrigued. I think we've just been hearing about this movie for so long, and the DC of it all. Like it does feel like a DC extended universe movie to me. Like
Still, yeah.
that's kind of like, even though seem like we're kind of past that, where we were doing like individual.
Well, we're getting a Joker sequel,
I
so
was going to bring that up in a second. We'll get there. That'll be, the segue there. But I I don't know. Like it feels like something that was coming out around Justice League or Batman vs Superman or something like that. Like I feel like even the Suicide Squad, while technically part of the DCEU, felt like its own thing, right? Where this very much with the Justice Society of America and like Hawkman and all the different heroes that are in this, like it really does scream DCEU to me, which is not a good thing. And then that's kind of just the vibe I get from the whole movie. I love The Rock. You know, I don't think he is a movie star through and through. I think like I'm not going, oh, I gotta see the new Rock movie. Like, I just feel like it's more like yeah, I'll go see the new Rock movie.
It's more like
Like,
you're happy he's there, and
yeah,
you
I
always know
like
that
him as a personality and
it's
stuff.
weirdly comforting to know that, like, oh, every year or so we'll get a couple movies with him, and not all of them are going to be great, but every now and then we'll get one that you'll enjoy, or he'll enter a franchise that he makes a little bit better. And we haven't gotten that in a while from him. Like, we haven't gotten that interjection of Nas in the way that we got in Fast
Yeah,
Five, or we haven't gotten
because he's
maybe,
been trying to do his own franchises, like starting his own shit, right?
yeah,
But
or like a subversive kind of performance, the way that I think he's actually really good in Pain and Gain, and actually
yeah,
quite funny in that movie. Or even, like the first film that kind of really proved his worth in Peter Berg's The Rundown, like
I
those
like the rundown.
yeah,
Walking Tall.
like he is a movie star, he is an action star. He's one of those guys that is very charismatic and likable, and like it's hard not to. But I also do like, it's the same thing with Tom Cruise. Like, I like when those guys can play against type a little bit, and it's
It's way
almost like
more interesting. Yeah.
they're too afraid to now, because they've gone too far in the I want everybody to like me kind of
I gotta sell
category.
my tequila, and I gotta
Yeah,
sell my energy drink,
and
and
I
I
gotta
gotta sell
sell my
like,
Scientology.
yeah. So yeah, that's the one thing about The Rock that sometimes I'm like, all right, bro, you gotta slow down a little bit, and you don't need to like sell so hard on everything that you're doing. Like, I get it, but the Zoa energy drink and the Terramina tequila or whatever the hell it's called, and like it's just like a little too much, like in every video being like, it's me, The Rock, just drinking my Zoa energy drink and having some tequila. It's just like, all right, dude, not every Instagram video. Like, it's obnoxious in a different way, or it's like cringy in a different way than someone like a Vin Diesel, who feels very like sincere but strange, where The Rock
Well,
feels
he's kind of more
almost,
oblivious to it all, where The
yes, where The
Rock
Rock
knows what he's
knows,
doing.
but it's still corny as fuck, or it's a little like, dude, you don't need to sell so
Shameless
hard on
self
everything.
promotion,
I
man.
know, and I get it. He dives so deep into it that I'm like, good for you, man. Like, and
Just thinking Pierce Brosnan drinking his tequila in the
if
movie.
that tequila will show up in that movie. If
Yeah.
$7 is producing it, then Terramina tequila will be somewhere, or a Zoa energy drink. And I know these things. I've had no interest in trying any of them. But I know them because he talks about them so much.
Well, it's the same thing with
Um,
Red Notice. Like, Red Notice had both his and Ryan Reynolds,
I know that.
and it's
Remember,
just,
we had a whole segment of our review on that where it was
God.
like, ugh, no, don't. Anyways, Joker 2. How do you even pronounce this? Folie à deux, is a thing, and I don't know. A lot of people obviously hating on this and shitting on it, rightfully so.
Well, I think it's
Um,
dealing with Todd Phillips again. Like,
I think
and
that's what it is. Like,
yeah.
both you and I know our opinions have changed a little bit based on him and just the times and different things like that. I don't even mind the Joker. I really liked it when I saw it. It is a ripoff of Taxi Driver and Scorsese and a lot of things, but I didn't hate it. I've reevaluated it and how it depicts, mental health and different things like that. And I don't think that it's a perfect movie by any means, but it's definitely a movie that I did not need a sequel to. And even if I liked it, it's something that I'm like, I was fine with, it just being what it is. And, hate it or love it, or something in between. It existed, it's there. I don't think we need to explore that version of the character more, or have a franchise from that Joker movie. And so, even from coming from someone who enjoyed the first movie, and I understand a lot of people fucking hate that movie, fair. Um, and I think a lot of that comes, at least from me and you, is the Todd Phillips factor, which we even brought up during our original review. And when it's hard to like that movie because it's hard to like him.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, like, Joaquin Phoenix is one of those actors that I'll watch in anything, and
Yeah.
and always be like, even if the
And I
material
think
or
he's
the film.
genuinely good in Joker,
Yeah,
but
he's a great actor. I'm also a little worried about him, though, doing this again, because of all that weight he lost, and kind of looking
yeah.
completely just completely gaunt. But yeah, it's one of those
Yeah.
things where, I'm going to make the joke here, because I mean, that subtitle is Of Two Minds. I've
Yeah.
always been of two minds with Joker, where I like it as it's a better than average comic book movie and does something a little bit different there, but as a movie, which it wants to be, it isn't doing anything that Martin Scorsese
No.
didn't do in
Yeah,
1982
I
or 3 with The
agree.
King of Comedy, you know?
Which I don't think that there's anything wrong
No,
with
but
that,
one and
but
done is fine. But you know what the deciding factor is? It made
money.
so
Yeah.
much money. It
Yeah, I
did
know.
so well. It was nominated and won two Oscars for score and actor in a
Nominated for
leading
Best
role.
Picture.
Best Picture. Todd Phillips got a fucking directing nomination that year, the same year that Scorsese did for The Irishman. And like even watching the roundtables where like because Scorsese was originally going to be an executive producer on the film, but then left because of creative differences. And like even the way that like Todd Phillips throughout the whole award season was trying to like get Scorsese to love him like a father that basically abandoned him as a child and trying to win him back over was just so pathetic.
Yeah.
Um, and now it's like okay, I'm doubling down on this and like what am I going to steal from to make this sequel? And like even with
I'm
the
very
title, it's like
curious
am
here.
I going to do like a Jean-Luc Godard thing where like I'm going to try to make this kind of completely about the visuals? Am I going to actually touch on Batman being maybe the villain from the point of view of the Joker? Am I going to bring in a Harley Quinn, or is it
I
just
went the Harley Quinn route when it is the like of two minds, or I forget what the exact thing is. It's like projecting onto someone else or
well, it's
onto
the
another.
Fallout Boy
Like,
album, right?
yeah, right,
Because
sure.
that's what everybody's making fun of because it's
Is
the
that what
same
it is?
title
It's
as
the
the
same
Fallout Boy
title.
album.
It's been a
Yeah.
bunch of different things, right? It's
Yeah.
pretentious as hell. It's
Oh yeah,
just
and
like
that's the biggest
it's
problem
just
where
like
like Todd Phillips. I mean, I guess there is an earnestness or sincerity where like you could compare it to Vin Diesel, where like what Todd Phillips is doing, he thinks is
is
greater
really
than it
cool.
actually
Yeah,
is. But the
yeah,
problem is more people are enabling him compared to Vin Diesel. I mean, people
sure,
are enabling Vin Diesel as well, but they're not giving him Oscar nominations for a Fast
sure.
movie, where it's almost like the awards for Todd Phillips, and to a lesser extent, because I actually do like Adam McKay more as a person, it's almost like, oh, I'm going to keep doing this and people are going to love
Yeah,
me for it. And it just
yeah,
it's kind of
yeah.
it's like, yeah, one and done, fine. A sequel to this we don't need. I don't need another Hangover trilogy, but in Joker form.
We sure don't. Again, first Hangover movie probably doesn't hold up. I haven't watched it in a
No,
while. But
there's a lot of
enjoy.
transphobic humor in part
Yes,
two.
I feel like 2 and 3 are just like
Yeah.
again cash grabs, and this is kind of what what this is, even in an artsy way.
Well,
Like
the
it's just
one that
like
he kind of resisted that, which was interesting, because I think now if he had made it like now and it was popular, he would make a sequel to it. It's Old School, because I remember like with the Old School's not a great movie either, but like I remember with that, like there
I
was
loved Old School. Haven't watched it in a very long time.
same. I mean, I remember seeing it in the theaters with my brother Connor and Kyle and our grandmother taking us to see it. You're my boy, Blue. But with that, like that was the movie where it's like, oh, everybody wanted a sequel to that, and he never made a sequel, and he wasn't interested in making a sequel, and it was like, okay, he showed some restraint there for whatever reason, but
Mm.
now it's like, yeah, I'll do a sequel to Joker 2, or yeah, I'll do two other Hangover movies. It's like his best stuff is when he's kind of like, I'm
I
just
like
making
his
it for
Starsky and Hutch movie.
that is his best film, and that
Yeah,
I think is generally a fun movie.
yeah.
Again, it's been a while since I've
And it's
seen it.
not taking itself too
No,
seriously, right? Like it is satire, and it's just like it's fun, and like I don't know. Yeah, he is going that Adam McKay route, but like I agree with you that I like Adam McKay a little bit more.
yeah.
Um yeah, I don't know. I obviously will see it, and it could be maybe I'll enjoy it like I did the first
Will
Joker,
will it
but
win the award at
um
Venice next time around? We'll find out.
it'll play festivals again. They'll go the
Yeah.
same route that they went
Oh,
with
with
the
that
original
title?
Joker. Oh,
Guarantee
absolutely.
it.
Yeah, it'll play Can.
Yeah.
Like, oh man. Other trailers we missed. We talked about Prey last week, right?
I
Or
think
the
so,
did we
or
talk about the
maybe
first teaser and now
maybe
the
the
full
first
trailer?
teaser. Yeah.
The full trailer is out, and I'm really in. I'm like I'm definitely down for like a. It's not necessarily a prequel, but just it takes place in what 1799 or something like that,
Yeah,
or in
with the
the
Comanche tribe.
yeah, or in the 1800s or something like that, or early 1900s. I forget. But anyways, it looks really cool. Yeah, with the Comanche tribe taking down a predator, and I think that's like a really cool idea. I like Dan Trachtenberg. I like 10 Cloverfield Lane a lot. It's going to Disney Plus Star here in Canada. We got that press release confirming that. I think we talked about that we weren't sure where it was going on the last episode. So confirmed it's going to be Disney Plus here in Canada. It'll be Hulu in the US. I would like to see this in a theater. Like, that it just feels weird seeing a Predator movie at home, I guess. But
but I'm not completely surprised either, because talking about Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, Predator has also been an inconsistent series.
Sure.
I feel
Yes,
like we've talked
absolutely.
about this before with Jurassic Park, Terminator, Predator. These are all movies that at best are, and I guess even with this Joker conversation, one and done. Terminator 2 is a great movie, and I like Predator 2. I mean, we've talked about Predator 2 being one of the greatest sweaty movies ever made.
Sweaty.
Hot. But you look at like what they've tried to do with the Predator films since then, with Predators and Nimrod Antal, who now, one thing we did mention with our Stranger Things review, that he directed a bunch of episodes, which I thought was kind of interesting. But they tried to remake that with Predators, and it didn't really, it was okay, but like it didn't really do what they were hoping it would. And like that character, even though the Alien franchise can also be hit and miss, I mean, the Alien universe kind of is a little bit more well defined, where this has always just kind of been like, put an action star up against a creature from another world, and like the hunter and the prey and that kind of thing. And the selling point being Schwarzenegger versus an alien was the big highlight of that movie, but it was also directed by somebody who knew how to direct action, with John McTiernan. And then with Predator
we were
2,
really excited for the Shane Black one too, and then that kind of
because again, like, you had the guy who was like the quintessential 80s writer, and there's stuff in there that's okay, but there was something about it that just did not come together. And like, even with all the problematic elements of the one guy that Shane Black was friends with, and like the reshoots as well, like it did feel choppy at times. And
its
it kind
depiction of
Tourette syndrome specifically, which is like, again, I love Thomas Jane, but like he's it's like, that was more so on, I think, Shane Black than it was the performance.
I agree.
But yeah, like it was just one of those things where it's like, if someone like Shane Black couldn't do it, I'm still excited for it, because again, to all the points you already made, but it's something where it's like, my expectations are
I agree. Yeah, are lower.
Yeah.
But like, I hope it's just kind of fun.
I mean,
like,
I like that they're even not branding it as like the Predator.
It's called Prey.
Like,
it's great.
Prey.
Yeah, Prey is great. You just lean into that, and like
Prey is great, guys.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, I feel like maybe to our point of the Predator sequels have not been great. So why rely on that name? Just call it something different. Yeah, it's about one of
don't hire Adrian
creatures.
Brody as your action star.
Yeah, that was weird. I agree. Weird choice.
And the other thing is, make it sweaty.
It's got to be sweaty. This movie's going to be sweaty.
We need more action movies to be sweaty.
Like Top Gun, the original, and Predator 2.
Breakdown with Kurt Russell.
Good shit.
Just make it. Oh God, I miss sweaty movies.
Yeah, come on. Everyone's so clean and pristine.
We need to make everything glisten.
Talking about sweaty, the Munsters teaser dropped. I watched that, which was I'm intrigued by this just because Rob Zombie doing a PG movie about a
Dracula,
do it about like an old TV show, but it's got all his regulars in it, and I'm so curious of what this is going to be. Like, I just can't fathom a PG Rob Zombie movie just because of everything he's ever made. So I'm genuinely curious for this because of that. Hi, Nevis.
I agree with you. Like, I don't like Rob Zombie that much. I mean, he is super obnoxious and his characters are always at 11, but there is something where it's like seeing him work within those parameters of like a PG rating,
like family movie kind of.
Something that he grew up with as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I also watched The Munsters as a kid, and really liked Fred Gwynne as the lead. Like Fred Gwynn, I guess, would be known to a lot of people now in our age range as the old man who warns the family in Pet Cemetery that lives across the street. And he's also the judge in My Cousin Vinny.
Oh, okay,
So
cool.
yeah, so he was
Recently
the
watched that.
original the head of that family. Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, I guess it could end up being like an Eli Roth thing where, like, you know, he
Yeah.
did the house with the clock and it's in the
Yeah.
walls. So it could be kind of like, oh, maybe he's better at making kids movies where like everything is over exaggerated than he is doing like these
Yeah, his
metal
style
films.
Yeah. His style might lend itself well. I don't know. I'm intrigued.
But Dragula has to play because that song is based that title, Dragula, is the car
Yeah.
that they drive in the Munsters.
Oh, so he's been a huge fan, yeah,
Yeah.
like you said. So yeah,
Burn through the witches.
I hope it does. I'm all for that. I think that covers trailers. There was a new Nope trailer which I have not watched
I
because
saw
I'm
it
trying.
because I saw it before Jurassic World Dominion.
Okay. Thoughts like
Michael Wincott's back, baby.
yeah, I saw
I
you
am
tweet that.
so excited for him. Like that, he is one of those character actors in the late 80s into the 90s that was ubiquitous. He would pop up as a villain or a henchman character in so many movies, has an amazing voice, always good, always adds something to the film.
From
even
Toronto.
from Scarborough specifically.
Yeah.
I love him, and he hasn't done a feature in a while, so it's great to have him back.
Interesting. He was in Ghost in the Shell in 2017?
And it was a reference to The Crow. So at the beginning
Okay.
of the Ghost in the Shell, when Scarlett Johansson infiltrates that one sort of meeting that's going on, he's the guy that gets pulled away by the robot.
Okay.
So that was kind of like the last, and it's an uncredited role as well, which is
Yeah,
kind
weird.
of interesting. But like, yeah, like he was like the captain in Alien Resurrection that gets killed off pretty quickly.
Yeah.
He's in Training Day. He's got like this really kind of like gruff but weirdly, I'm gonna say, sensual voice. Like it's just kind of
Okay.
soothing, but like kind of like there's something seductive about it. He's always good, and I like that guy a lot. So
Cool, man. Yeah. How was the trailer? I didn't want
it
to
was
watch
good.
it because
It
we
was
were
good. It reveals, I think,
too
a little
much.
too
Yeah,
much.
that's why I'm not watching it, because like we're so close now, and I feel like with us, I might have seen too many trailers and things like that. I'm trying now to not watch final trailers unless like I watched the Love and Thunder one, but like that doesn't bother me too much. But certain movies where I don't want a ton of plot or a ton of tidbits to be revealed. Like I know it's about aliens. I've seen the new TV spots and stuff like that where the actual like you see the UFO and stuff like that. So which I'm sure is in this trailer. But
yeah, there's a
I'm
lot, but again, like the trailer's also trying to like maybe there is some misdirection because the trailer
yeah.
keeps saying like it's not what you're thinking, and it's
Okay.
like it kind of
Interesting.
looks what I'm like what you're selling me on. It looks like it, but
Yeah.
okay.
Sure.
But there is something in the trailer that I also really like that they weren't showing a lot of before that actually makes me more excited about the movie overall.
Cool.
That also includes, because Michael Wincott wasn't really in the other
first trailer,
teasers,
yeah.
and he's in it a lot more, and like what he's doing is actually really I'm really excited about this.
Okay,
So,
cool. Yeah, I'm very down the IMAX stuff, like we've already mentioned. Really
and Keke
gets
Palmer
me going
too, right? Like,
Yeah,
you know,
there
having
you
a
go.
really good summer with Lightyear and now this. So
Both IMAX movies. There you
Yeah.
go. I'm very excited. I hope they screen it in IMAX for us. They have to. If they're
yeah, I
they're
think they
making it
will.
they're making it such a big deal that it's shot on IMAX film that I hope our screening is in IMAX. And if it's not, I might wait to see it in IMAX. Love Steven Yeun, love Daniel Kaluuya, love Keke Palmer, like you're saying. Like
Keith David's in it.
Oh, Keith David's in it too? Nice.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Talk about another
I'm-
great voice. You could
Yeah.
have a whole movie with Keith David and Michael Wincott talking to each other,
Yeah.
and it would be amazing.
I love it. Anything else that you want to talk about before we
No,
go?
I actually have to wrap.
Oh shit, yeah, you do. Okay, so let's wrap. Thank you, everyone. I totally forgot Eric has to do an interview. So yeah, that's it. That's the show. We'll be back in a few weeks, probably. Like I mentioned a million times, I'm going on vacation / getting married. Very excited about that. I'll be gone for 3 weeks.
Jurassic World Dominion.
Yeah, I might see Dominion in Croatia. It's a tradition now. But love you all. We'll be back in a few weeks. I'm sorry we'll be a little bit quiet, but we will have some stuff randomly dropping throughout, some interviews, some different things like that. So go check out our reviews for Lightyear, which should be up soon if you're listening to this right away, but there should be reviews up for Spiderhead, and then also Cha-Cha Real Smooth this week as well. And then you'll see some interviews dropping here and there for Lightyear and maybe some other things. So keep an eye out for that. Just head over to Letterboxd, Untitled_movies for everything. That's kind of your one-stop shop. As always, my name is Matt Rohrbeck. You can find more of my work around the internet, but mostly at untitledmoviepodcast.com. And you can follow me on all those social medias if you want to see all my vacation shenanigans and marriage shenanigans at Matt Rohrbeck.
And I'm Eric Marchin. You can find more of my video reviews and interviews on rogerstv.com/cinemascene and on all the social medias at EM6211.
Until next time.
Congratulations, Matt and Nevis. Dragula!
Thanks, buddy. See you, everyone.